And now we come to the thrilling final episode of our radio drama.
News may have dominated in the fall of 1938, but radio was still primarily an entertainment medium, and the nation's primary entertainment.
Ring up the boys, May, and tell them to meet me at Pine Creek Forks.
There were westerns and soap operas and adventures of all sorts.
Tell the boys to ride.
See you later, Ma.
Everything from the Lone Ranger to Jack Armstrong. But most of all, there was music. It was the era of the big bands, Benny Goodman, the Dorseys, Bunny Barrigan, Count Basie, Duke Ellington. And if you couldn't get to Broadway to see them, you could hear them on the radio. It was also a time when comedy was king. Jack Benny, George Burns, Gracie Allen. The most listened to show on radio was with Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy. McCarthy was the wooden doll.
A haunting we will go.
Hey, Charlie, the word is hunting.
Well, not on Halloween, it ain't.
It's tough being up against the highest rated show. That fall, the task fell to the Mercury Theater on the Air, produced by Orson Welles and John Houseman.
We were the competitors to Charlie McCarthy and the Chase and Sanborn show, so that our rating was about 3.2 and their rating was about 38.9. Nevertheless, we panicked the nation, they didn't.
The nation was ready for that fictional panic because the headlines were full of real crisis. Chamberlain's attempts notwithstanding, as September drew to a close, Hitler was unappeased.
Well, there we were, afraid of a war that we expected was going to happen and didn't want to get involved in. Nature had reminded us that a lifetime of loving and saving and building can go just like that in an hour. Small wonder, maybe, that so many of us panicked when Orson Welles told us on Halloween Eve that Martians were in New Jersey. Come back to the fall of 1938, to the texture of that time, and some of the heroes of that season. Welcome back to the fall of 1938, when your milk was delivered in a bottle, probably unhomogenized, with a collar of cream on it for about 13 cents a quart. Round steak at the meat market was 35 cents a pound. And for 75 cents, you could get a nice prime rib at the London Chop House in Detroit. Before you go all teary with nostalgia, though, note that the average working stiff made about $25 a week. We were still working our way out of a depression and hoping it wouldn't take a war to cure it.
If, as my high school history teacher, Mrs. Wisdom, used to tell me, all wars are fought for trade, then it's worth noting that in 1938, in the autumn, Germany had a trade deficit of 432 million marks, roughly 177 million in 1938 dollars. The country had been bankrupt for 7 years. Here in America, depression was part of the vocabulary still, and of 130 million Americans, nearly 10 million were out of work still. No wonder that the top box office movie that year was a fantasy about 7 little men and a princess and a witch, all from Disney.
Why, you're little men. Oh, you must be grumpy.
Zur Feier der 11. Olympiade neuer Zeitrechnung als eröffnet.
A big hit in Germany that fall was Leni Riefenstahl's movie Olympia, a stylized documentary of the 1936 Olympics that glorified the graceful, blonde, Aryan Superman. One man was at least as super as those Aryan guys.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
He sprung from the minds of Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel.
The newspapers, the radio were full of the bad news of the things that were going on in Europe. The world definitely needed somebody who could step in and do something about it. Hopefully it could happen in real life, but if it didn't, and it looked like maybe it wouldn't, perhaps a fictional character could do something about these terrible things. He is a figure of wish fulfillment. All of us wish we could handle all of our everyday problems as easily as he did.
Siegel says that mild-mannered Clark Kent was patterned after Harold Lloyd, the silent movie klutz. Superman was inspired by the movie heroics of Douglas Fairbanks Sr. We seemed hungry for heroes that anxious autumn. The Lone Ranger made his movie debut, and Lou Gehrig played himself, neither wisely nor too well, in a Western.
Hey, Lou, put your brand on that, will you?
I sure will.
On the level, Lou. Where you going?
My sister and I bought a swell ranch in a peaceful valley.
Single by Lou Gehrig.
Gehrig seemed more comfortable that fall, helping the Yankees beat the Cubs 4 straight in the World Series. Don Budge won the Grand Slam of tennis, displaying a talented backhand. Miss Ohio became Miss America, no talent necessary.
Shakespeare could have had Miss America in mind when he said, "Age cannot wither her, nor custom stale her infinite variety."
Golfer Sam Snead won $5,000 on September 27th, a record $17,000 for the year.
Hey, that's my ball. Just a minute. I beg your pardon. Oh, dear.
You shouldn't do that, you know.
But that... What shouldn't I do?
Talk while someone's shooting.
Yes, but
Well,
that was
anyway,
my
I
story.
forgive you because I got a good shot.
Some movie stars oozed sophistication.
Oh, are you playing through?
No, I've just driven off the first tee and I
I see you're a stranger here. You should be over there. This is
Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn in Bringing Up Baby. Pixelated playboys and madcap heiresses, we loved them and envied them. Got a problem? Pretend it isn't there.
There, you see, it's a circle.
Well, now, of course it is. Do you think it would roll if it was square?
No, I have reference to a mark on the ball.
I
That
know,
proves
I
it's
was
a
only
crow
being
flight.
silly.
That's
Well,
my ball.
what does it matter? It's only a game anyway.
The theater offered plenty of comedies and musicals, Hell's a Poppin', Knickerbocker Holiday, big productions with flashy sets. But the most important play on Broadway that fall was played on a bare stage, Thornton Wilder's Our Town. It won the Pulitzer Prize and went on to become the most performed American play ever written. It captured the essence of small-town life in America at a time when events were threatening to shatter that isolation and that innocence. It was at the same time homespun and experimental, and it baffled many of its first audiences. The first production included actor William Rorick. He remembers an early review.
The notice said, "When we arrived, the curtain was up and there was no set on the stage. We wondered if there was going to be a play. After sitting for 2 hours, we still wonder. Period. End of review."
Richard Barr saw the very first performance.
People were walking out of it. They'd never seen anything like it. That bare stage with those signs and people climbing ladders. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Our Town's bare stage demanded the same audience imagination as did radio.
Instead of your imagination being limited by a set, however beautiful, you thought of your own village, your own churchyard, your own hills, your own bank, your own railroad station.
The piece of all the Our Towns, in fact, the piece of our world, is, that autumn, about to disappear. As we move towards Halloween, everything seemed more frightening.